Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Gordon Strachan names his squad for the forthcoming matches against Lithuania and Malta. Celtic are in Kazakhstan to complete the job and book their place in Thursday's Champions League group stage draw. Dougie Freedman has been named Sporting Director of Crystal Palace. Yeah, just a few of the talking points. Alan Ruff and myself, Peter Martin, will be discussing. It's Monday. Our boot room guest, as ever, delighted to welcome Gordon Smith to the show. So, lots to talk about after a weekend of football, and here's how the back pages looked this morning. The Daily Record, first of all, just highlighting the Celtic players on their way to Kazakhstan with a 5-goal advantage. And up at the top there, Lee Wallace backing Pedro Caixinha after a disappointing 0-0 draw at home to Hearts of Midlothian. The Sun has Celtic with Patrick Roberts on the way, and the Celtic manager highlighting they still are on the lookout for a striker. And the Daily Mail is the picture of Barcelona players paying tribute to the fallen after the tragic situation in La Ramblas with the terrorist attack. So there are the headlines from the morning papers, and of course the main topic today, earlier Gordon Strachan named his squad for the matches against Lithuania and Malta. Here's a look at the squad. Some of the key points here. Stephen Whittaker gets a recall to the team, and also Grant Hanley. There's no room, however, there for Callum McGregor, Ruffy.
Yeah, I mean, it may be a surprise to a lot. You know, he's had a good European with Celtic. He's playing particularly well. But again, at Celtic, he's in and out of the team. He's not like a regular all the time. But I think we've got enough players in midfield, enough experienced players, particularly for the away game, to handle that one.
What do you make of the squad, Gordon?
It's an interesting squad because it's 27 players, and it's split quite evenly in one respect, because it's actually got 9 players who are playing in Scotland, 9 Premier League players and 9 Championship players. The 27, so it's split 3 ways, and that's unusual in one respect too. For quite some time there, under other managers like George Burley, Craig Levein, we didn't have as many Premiership players or English Premier League players in the squad at all, but we do have 9 now, and that's at least a sign that the Scottish squad is picking up. We've got players playing at a higher level. The ones who are playing the Championship are also doing well. The English Championship's a good league. In Scotland, you know, it's mainly Celtic. I mean, out of the 9 players, 6 are from Celtic, and I agree that I thought Callum McGregor should have been brought in. I do believe he's done enough to be selected for the squad. I know that is our strongest area, is midfield, but I just think he's done very well. But overall, you've got 3 other players. Stephen Whittaker come back in, it's maybe a bit of a shock. Christoph Berra is there as well, and as I say, you know, in the main, you've got John McGinn as well from Hibs too. So you've got 3 other than the 6 Celtic players, but it's crucial that we get something from these games. There's no question we have to win.
Yeah. Should Aberdeen and Rangers feel slightly miffed? Do they have anybody there that you think should have been put in there?
No, I don't think so. I think the squad that he's got, you know, as Gordon said, they're all playing at a high level. Aberdeen boys went in, obviously didn't do particularly well in Europe there as a club. But I don't think there's anybody, you know, on the Aberdeen side who could force themselves into the starting lineup. And obviously Gordon's picked some players, fringe players, to give them experience to being along there. But I think, in all honesty, I think if you were asked us to pick the 11 right now, we probably could, near enough.
And with that in mind, is it now we're now in a situation where we now have the one striker that we know is definitely going to start?
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I see Stephen Fletcher, he's back in, scored again at the weekend, and he's back in the squad now. So he's always a player that Gordon Strachan has liked, but I think Lee Griffiths will have to be the main player now after his 2 goals against England, and free kicks are a speciality. You know, that's another way of scoring. Getting a set piece like that from outside the box, where that's a crucial element he's got in his game. So I think Lee Griffiths will start. But as I say, it's very interesting because Slovakia they actually play against Slovenia. That's our main rivals. I think if we're going to get into second spot, would be Slovakia with the team. I don't think it'll be Slovenia. We're sitting in 4th spot just now, and we've got Slovakia at home in October. but we're going to definitely beat Malta. So with Slovakia, if Slovakia do pick up the points at home against Slovenia, we really do need then to go to to Lithuania and pick up all 3 points, because Slovakia's next game is a game I believe they will lose, because they're playing England away. They're playing England at Wembley in their next game, so they have to take something from this game, or else we can possibly get closer to them. If we can win in Lithuania, we will beat Malta. If Slovakia don't do well in the 2 games they've got in September, we've got them in October, and we could be a lot closer to them.
Here's Scotland manager Gordon Strachan's take on the next 2 games.
We've got to try and win both games. That's what we set out. I don't think we ever really set out to kind of draw a game. We set out to win. If we get a draw, we get a draw. But we set out to win, that's for sure. Whether it be Germany away years ago, we put a magnificent performance. Down at England, we got beat 3-0. But we try to win the game. So we'll set out that way. I don't think we've got the physical capabilities to sit back and take long periods of being under intense pressure. Physically, we're not the biggest side in the world, that's for sure.
Are we getting better, Robbie?
We'll soon find out. I think everybody's looking at this game, and this could be our Georgia moment. You know, this is along the same lines as that game where we're all quite confident in how we were doing, and we went to Georgia and we got beat, and it just skyboshed everything. In this particular game, if we don't win this one, you know, you would think it would be a similar vein, because we got a good result against England, but in the light of day, it's 2 points dropped. As we keep on saying, you've got to win your home games. Although we're happy with the draw, but when you reflect on it, it's another 2 points, and it looks as if our group is going to be the group that needs points to qualify.
So Lithuania, win or bust?
It's got to be a win, yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, Gordon's highlighted how the other results go, but it's all about us, you know, it's about us picking up points. I think the 2 points dropped against England has to be brought back with 3 points against Lithuania.
Yeah, it stays open, Peter. If we beat Lithuania, we will beat Malta, as I said. That's 6 points we're going to take. Then we've got to look at the team who are 6 points ahead of us, Slovakia. We've got to look at them and think, well, how are they going to do? It depends how they do in terms of, say, it opens it up for that match we've got against them in October. If we get closer, say we're only 3 points behind them, say they got 3 points, we get 6, we're 3 behind. If we beat them then at home, it leaves it open for us still to have a chance of getting that second spot. If we do win in Lithuania, we need to win that game.
Yeah, here's Gordon talking about Lithuania.
They set a good standard. They've got this kind of club mentality, because they've not got a big squad to choose from. So they keep their nucleus the same all the time. So it's like a club team they've got going there. And they're like a good handicap golfer who's steady all the time. So it's hard to beat a good, steady handicap golfer. And that's what they're like. They're very steady. They play a system that was very similar to what we used a couple of years ago. So we know that well. But they do good things. They take real pride in playing for the country.
Should we expect to beat them away from home?
Yeah, I think we should. If we're progressing the way that we think we are, I think we should. But we saw Lithuania at Hampden. They're dogged. You know, they can sit in quite easily. They don't create many chances. They don't score many goals. So you would think, even if though we lost a goal, you would think we would be capable enough to get 2 with the players that we've got. But I think it'll be, again, the park again. It'll be AstroTurf. We've got to handle that as well. So, no, I think it could be a difficult night, but I think we're good enough to take the 3 points.
It's down to getting the right team, picking the right team, but setting the tactics correctly in terms of how we're going to, the structure of the team, how we're going to play, because I do believe we have the players, and I do believe we've underachieved so far in the group with the players that we've got. I think we should be doing better.
He's brought back Grant Hanley. I mean, is there a player that you think will force his way into the team from the squad that he's got there?
I think Hanley and Martin were a good partnership together. I mean, I think they always played pretty well, so I think that's what he might do. The last game he went against England, which I felt was the right thing to do, because I predicted it before the game. Well, I didn't predict it. What I said before the game was against England, that we should be playing 3 at the back. This is a game we've got to be tight against, because England have got good strikers. He might do the same again, because you've got Tierney there who can play in the field a bit. You know, you maybe get Whittaker's come back in to play right back. So he might decide still to play 3 centre-backs, because Robertson, who was seemingly starred for Liverpool at the weekend, he's competing with probably our 2 brightest prospects. playing the same position and they're competing against each other. I think they'll both play.
Yeah.
But whether Tierney will play right back, again, as he's done before, or a left side centre-back in a 3.
I mean, that's the big question, Ruffy. I think Robertson, the way he played for Liverpool at the weekend, is if he keeps that up, he's a cert to give us another option in the left back area, full back.
Yeah, I think both full back positions are going to be very crucial. You know, we can see it doesn't matter what game you look at now. If you've got full backs that can get into the latter third of the park, put quality balls into the box, that's what they're good at.
OK, from Scotland, we are going to switch our attention to the weekend's activity in the Premiership. There were lots of games with some very special goals. Alan Ruff and Gordon Smith are going to cast their eye over them. We'll be looking at Ibrox in that match between Rangers and Hearts, asking the question, of course, that can anyone stop Celtic domestically? And are these guys going to change their minds with me on Hamilton to get relegated? Well, the Ackies are doing a good job of proving us wrong. We've also got a question for you. (1979), no luck to the two guys by my side here. It was, of course, one of those candidates, Gordon Smith, for the best FA Cup final of its time. 3-2 Arsenal, scoring in the last minute Alan Sunderland after United had equalised.
That's right. I remember the game. I just couldn't remember the year. I thought it was first I said 78, then I changed to 76 because Ruffy had gone 77. But, I just think that I do remember very well the actual match, and what a big. And I didn't play against Sunderland at all at any time, Alan Sunderland, any time in my career. Did you ever play against them?
No,
No.
not at all.
Yeah, it was one of those goals away at the back post. Ruffy, I'm sure you'd have been critical of Gary Bailey.
Yeah, I think he got a bit of stick after that game, the way he came out. He was a big lad, you know, that he came out with his wrong hand and just sailed over the top of him.
I made him a hero 4 years later, though.
Absolutely. I didn't mean to highlight it like that, Gordon, but now that you mention it, you're right. OK, let's look to the weekend. Here's the results from the Premiership in Scotland. Celtic again, even with all the changes, still managed to defeat Kilmarnock down at Rugby Park. Aberdeen, a screamer coming up from Stevie May you won't want to miss. Hamilton are just continuing to defy us all with a win at Hibernian. Motherwell, I think Stephen Robinson, will hear from him on Louis Moult. Rangers against Hearts didn't produce a goal, and St Johnstone, well, like so many others, maybe Tommy Wright deserves even more praise than we are giving him at the moment. Only 3 teams with a 100% record, as you can see from the Premier League table, and Celtic up there at the top, as well as Aberdeen and St Johnstone with a 100% record, and 3 teams at the bottom, Kilmarnock, Partick Thistle and Dundee, with no points as it stands. So to the first game, this is I think changes again from Brendan Rodgers, but it just didn't seem to stop them, Ruffy. They all played to the same system and came out on top against Kelly.
Yeah, they certainly did. Again, they played the possession, you know, and just waited and waited. Roderick got the ball, saw the gap, turned a pace, ball into the box, and a clinical fitness from Forrest. You know, it was super. If you get a chance to see it again, you know, he sees the gap, nobody can touch him in there. He's so quick, and it's a great side foot, a lot of pace on it as well. Gets in there, you know, cuts it back, and you have to say Forrest made it for him. You know, he checked it so it could there. It's sort of a similar goal again. You know, Roderick build up, a good ball, good through ball. Kilmarnock centre half's not too good, but again, McGregor there, as he always is, and tucks it away.
Will he feel miffed that he's not in the Scotland squad, do you think? Think he would have thought, I've got a chance?
Yeah, I think so. I think, well, any time this year when we saw him and he's came on, he's been a breath of fresh air. He's got a bit of pace about him. He's got confidence about him as well, and he's scoring goals. And
rather ominously, Gordon, this is a side that, you know, we reckon Patrick Roberts back this week, and we're hearing from the Celtic camp that Brendan Rodgers wants a striker and a central defender.
Yeah, I think that just to, you know, add to the squad, because they've got a European, you know, group stage coming up, which is going to be tough games, but not as tough as last year, I don't think. And Celtic are better I mean, the very fact they're developing their young players as well now strengthens them. They're bringing Roberts in. If they get a striker in, it'll be cover for them because, like, you know, Dembele has got injury problems. Lee Griffiths as well has had a few. And centre half has been a problem area with him having to play beat on there. Although I think he's done very well.
Yep, and no surprise, Ruffy, that the Astana boss, Stanimir Stolov, has mentioned that he doesn't think that there's going to be some miracle comeback along the lines of Barcelona against Paris Saint-Germain. He thinks, you know, he wants his side to go out with a good performance at home against Celtic tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think Celtic will go there, and as I said there in the Kilmarnock game, they'll have a lot of possession. Brendan Rodgers seems to have them. When you've got possession, you can control the game. That's what they'll do. They might lose the game by the odd goal, but I can't see anything overturning that.
Yeah, and when I mentioned to Gordon about strikers coming in, Nadir Sifsi gone out again, this time to Plymouth. So he's offloaded him and gave him a chance to get a bit of football.
Yeah, it is an amazing downfall for him. You know, we all saw him at Dundee United. They had fantastic skill, something different. You know, could score the odd goal, but again, just didn't happen for him. At Celtic, he got a couple of chances, but sometimes, as we spoke about and shown numerous occasions, as players come for these clubs to the bigger club, and it just doesn't happen for them.
It shows you actually with the Celtic struggling for a striker. It shows you don't even rate him for cover. You don't even think he's good enough to be a third choice or whatever. So he's as well moving on. There's no point in being hanging about if nobody really considers you for the team. Yeah.
Okay, from Kilmarnock against Celtic, and of course Celtic looking towards that match against Astana. Incidentally, Chris Commons will be joining us tomorrow night to reflect on the Astana Celtic game. I think it kicks off at 4:30 British time, and we'll be on air to look back over the highlights of that game with former Celtic player Chris Commons. So to Ibrox. There's no point in beating everyone over the head as far as the players that have gone. It's about the players that remain at Rangers that Pedro Caixinha has placed his faith in. We'll get Gordon's thoughts on that in a minute, but here's some of the highlights from the game at Ibrox.
Yeah, I think Rangers had the main bit of possession. Here's Lafferty early on. It was a good block there. There wasn't really much of a chance, but you know, Hearts had one or two chances in the game overall, but it's a nice little bit of football going up here. The ball gets played in, a lovely little pass here just through for the run, and you see the ball getting cut across. Kenny Miller, great challenge from Berra, just coming in and knocking that way there. That was a half chance really, but Christoph Berra did really well. This is a lovely pass, just played into Wallace's path there, but you see how quickly Berra moved there. And this is Suter. I mean, centre half hitting a shot like that is a bit sensational, isn't it? What a goal that would have been. That would have been right up there as a candidate for goal of the season if that had gone in.
Could he be an option in the future from a Scotland perspective?
I don't think there's any doubt about it, yeah, because he can play. He's a defender, but he can play as well. This is one that Wallace got and cut across, and it just fell when Ellis got the ball in the net, but I think the flag was already up. I think it was Lee Wallace. I'm not sure if it was him or the flag went up because they thought that maybe Windass had run across here, but I think that's the ball's in the net, but it was disallowed. Then obviously, you know, Rangers were still trying to break forward and get chances here. Not a great shot from Ellis from quite a distance there, but not a lot of clear-cut chances. That's Kranjčar who came on as a substitute. And then late on, Hearts maybe could have done better with that. The ball played in there. I think he was taken a bit by surprise that went right over the defence. But it wasn't a great game. And from Rangers' point of view, it was a bad result. Hearts will be happy with the point, as I think they were, but Rangers have to be looking to win that game.
Do you think the Rangers board at any point are discussing the future of their manager or potentially having to look for someone else?
I don't know if they'll be looking for somebody yet, but it must be in discussions about the fact is like what we're going to do here, how much time are we going to give him. I believe if you're in the board of directors and you've given the guy the money to spend, you've allowed him to bring his players in, you're taking things forward. It doesn't look so good. It's a negative position just now, but you've got to give him a bit of time because there's no point in making these changes until a guy has a few games in charge. And I think it'll be the first half of the season, but the first quarter, I think we'll be looking initially to say, how's he done when they've played everybody once? The board will be looking at to think, you know, is this guy taking this? Is he actually making any progress with the team?
You think he'll get to half season?
I think he'll get to half season, yeah, before they make a decision. I think that's the point. I think is a cut-off point, half season.
Okay, the Rangers manager doesn't think there's any need for any worry?
No, it's not a concern. As I always used to say, it's a concern when you don't create chances. When you create chances the way you create today and dominating the game the way you dominated, so I'm not concerned. The only point that maybe I need to understand that we need to play with a little bit more tempo with the possession, so the ball moving quicker and being more aggressive to create space, to attack space, and the ball arriving on the lesser. So it's the only point that I maybe referred today, that we could not do it the way we need to do it and the way we are capable to do it. So we need to focus on that and keep working in that direction, because regarding to the last game, the ending position in attack was brilliant. So they could not get it in one transition. They could not connect with the front players. They could not have any sort of transition. So regarding to that, allow us to dominate more the game. The only point is maybe that, and of course not scoring a goal.
Transition seems to be his favourite word. Ruffy, Ross County, Dundee, 2 games against Partick. I think Gordon's been fairly kind to him, thinking a half season.
But he will be trying to convince himself and convince his supporters. A win against Motherwell, in the game against Hibs until a player gets sent off, and dominating that game at the weekend. That's what he'll be saying to himself. He'll be trying to convince himself that we're just a wee bit away from getting a big win. And the results.
I knew he was going to be positive.
The results will
Yeah.
prove it.
Yes.
You know, you can dominate games, but if you keep only picking up 1 point,
Yeah,
that's what will kill him.
Ronnie Dyler was positive as well. Look what happened to him. What about Hearts? Dougie Friedman is the sporting director at Crystal Palace, so he's out of the running. John Daly got a point from this. Is he in the running as well, Ruffy, when you consider now that Stephen Presley seems to be the front runner with the bookies?
Yeah, I would like to see the candidates. I'd like to see everybody that got interviewed. We're only guessing who that would be. We know Stephen Presley's there. We know John Daly wants it. You know, I still think Stephen Presley and Craig Levein look like a partnership to me.
Gordon?
I think Stephen Presley would be good. Yeah, I think he's a strong character, intelligent guy, knows the game very well. He would be good. I felt though that John Daly was in with a right good chance. I think if he'd got a win on Saturday, I think his candidature would have been at the top level. He would have been the main person if he'd won at Ibrox on Saturday.
Okay, you can give us your thoughts at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. So from Ibrox, Rangers against Hearts, we are heading to Pittodrie. Join us after the break. We've got a screamer coming from Stevie May. Good performance by the Dons. The smug look on Gordon Smith's face at the moment. He's happy with 1964. Ruffy?
I thought I had 64, you had 63.
No, I didn't.
No,
64,
you had
aye.
65.
65.
65.
Well
He's
done.
trying to claim a
Well done.
victory,
Oh,
Gordon.
well
That's
done.
outrageous.
Well done.
Well
Is that a
done.
guess?
90s.
Yes.
Don't worry about guesses, it's
It's a
still a
very good
victory
guess,
for
yeah,
you.
it was.
The quiz is proving to be ever popular, but of course, football's what it's all about. And from Ibrox and Rangers against Hearts, we switch our attention to one of the teams with a 100% record. We're talking, of course, about Aberdeen up there against Dundee, Ruffy.
Yeah, what a start to your new career, a new club, to get a goal at home. Comes in for the corner, you get a chance to see it again. He's the one that pulls out, and it's a sort of a striker's goal. You know, just it's not really the top of his head, it's just the side of his head, but he actually knows where the goal is, and it's a super header into the corner. It's a really, really bad cross the goal. You know, he's got a bit of pace, the guy, but again, I blame the goalkeeper. It's right, I know he's a big guy, but he just doesn't get down quick enough for me. And again, I thought Dundee were unfortunate. They had 2 or 3 chances here, you see it again. He's got the pace to attack them, tries to push them wide, pushes them wide, but he still gives them a chance at goal with a bad one. But this is a goal for me. Break a lot of ricochet. I think Dundee were wanting the ball out the park, but it breaks to Stevie May, and a left foot shot. It just comes up the right height for him, and he just volleys it right into the top corner. But I'm sure Neil McCann was really annoyed about the ball not being put out of the park, but you can't complain about this finish. Takes it very quickly. Not going to save that.
I mean, it's just an absolute peach from a guy that, if he can steer clear of injury, he could be a sensation for Aberdeen.
Definitely. I mean, the thing about it is that they've got creative players, so what they needed at times is somebody put the ball in the net. Rooney does it well in general, but he's not got the same movement, I don't think, as Stevie May's got. As you say, May keeps himself fit. May's also a player who does a lot more running about and gets into good positions and can also create for other people too. So I think he's a very good signing for Aberdeen.
Okay, from the downside of losing at Pittodrie to the upside and the positive for Dundee, because they are looking at possibly moving to a new stadium, and their managing director John Nelms revealed today what they're hoping to do.
Well, right now there's a training facility that's being proposed. We're looking at approximately a 15,000 seat stadium. But the documents that are in now are really for sizing and scoping to see exactly can we fit on the project and can the project be successful with what we can get on the site. Yeah, the organization will own, Dark Blue Property Holdings will own the project. There's multiple facets of the project, and the club will become a tenant of the stadium. Well, I think it's very important for everybody to get behind it. I think it's something that would be very good for not just the Dundee Football Club, but for the city itself. The city's going through a renaissance. The city council has a very forward-thinking city council that's really made Dundee a place that people want to be, and it's put it on the map. And I think that this step is just a natural step for the organization and could set the club up for the next 100 years.
So, Dundee, forward thinking, and as you can see by the plans, Ruffy, just about 3 miles away from Dens Park, on the outskirts, close to the A90. This is really, again, another club looking for the long-term future.
Yeah, I think we'll be honest and say that Dundee's main stand and the other stand are a bit old and tired looking. You know, that the supporters, any supporters want a new stadium, and obviously if they can get it through, it'd be good. You know, it'd be just interesting to see what they put when they move, you know, just to see if it upsets the Dundee United supporters.
My thoughts on it, well, my thoughts on the whole thing is, why don't they move to a stadium for the both teams and share a stadium?
Yeah.
And they both can sell their grounds, and one stadium alone is enough for both teams, rather than having the moment two stadiums on the same street.
Yeah.
Why don't they share?
Well, the majority of clubs don't share.
No. They do, I mean, in Italy they do.
No. I mean, everybody highlights AC Milan, Inter Milan, but the majority of clubs don't share.
Yeah, they could share if they're in the same town, though, if they're from the same place. I mean, many clubs...
I mean, I think it makes, financial sense, but...
Yeah, they could, they should, though. They should be looking at that, and you know, they both then rake in the money, and it's cheaper then for both of them to have one stadium that becomes, and maybe even the council or Dundee, the local authority then could put money in as well in order to make it a community stadium.
Yeah.
And particularly in this day and age, because most clubs have their training ground. You don't go to the stadium to the day of a game.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even see the stadium because you're away at your training ground, and your only alternative. So, it seems a good idea, but.
Okay, Dundee are going on their own. They're not listening to anybody else. As far as the other game that we've got in this section, it's one that's really kind of it's not painful, it's just painful that I think so many of us have tipped Hamilton Accies to go down, but boy, are they starting to prove everyone wrong, although it's early days, Gordon Smith.
It is early days, but you've got to give them all the credit in the world about the fact is that they are figure that they're going to be. I mean, this was I think it was a bit of a soft penalty, to be honest. I didn't see an awful lot of contact there. It just, you know, he's taking a touch and they've just sort of bumped each other slightly. You know.
Ruffy disagrees with you. So do I, Gordon, but nevertheless, still a goal.
I didn't think there was much in it.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was, I mean, they got the goal there, and then a bit of a mistake again there, and it's slotted away. Their Longridge just does really well just to take advantage of that. But that was bad play from... this was a lovely goal. Look at the movement there and the passing. And Bingham, who already got the first goal from the penalty, is in the right position just to pick up the ball and just slot it away. And I mean, that was the biggest shock, I would imagine, to everybody. A great little touch there, and then played him in. He could have shot there, but just played the ball to him. As I say, it was the biggest shock in football. It was definitely a cooking buster. There's no doubt about that. Ball comes here. I think Stokes takes this really well. You know, he's just started the club. He's a player that they're relying on to get goals. and he slotted this in, but it was a consolation goal at the end of the day because Hamilton Accies had totally outplayed them.
Yep, wake-up call, how Neil Lennon described it, but I think we've got to pay tribute to Hamilton Accies. That third goal was a thing of beauty, Ruffy.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was passed about, you know, that, and there was composure as well, really a lot of composure. But the wee flick was superb. But again, I didn't think the back three worked for Hibs. It worked at Ibrox, but the back three, there was Hamilton were all over them, you know, and there was lots of spaces there, and they used it to their advantage.
I think they use it as a motivational thing, the fact that everybody's tipping them to go down, Peter.
Yeah,
I think
it's not a dislike of Hamilton, it's just an observation on their budget.
That's exactly right. It's about the resources they've got, how difficult it is for them. There's a long way to go, obviously, but you have to give them credit. What a start. And next Saturday, they go to Robbie Park as well. So they're away from home again, but with that performance they've had there, they must feel a lot of confidence. And Kilmarnock are under a little bit of pressure with the 3 defeats they've had from 3 home games so far.
Motherwell against Ross County, and this match, all eyes on Louis Moult. Will they be able to hold on to him?
Oh, it's a good... I thought Davis should have done better there. Took a swipe at it, missed it, come right through to the striker, and he slotted it right away. A good goal. This one's over the top. Oh, you see it again. Has a swipe at it, misses it, and low into the bottom corner. A good... I felt sorry for Ross County. I thought Ross County had chances in that game as well. Louis Moult's through. Defender makes a last-ditch tackle. I don't think it was a sending off. I thought it was a penalty. But if you get a chance to see it again, I think he just tries to clear the ball, but just bangs into the man, and like all good strikers, it's the deck and it's a penalty, and all credit to him. Picked himself up and slotted it away quite easily.
Yeah, if you're denying somebody a goal-scoring opportunity, it's a penalty and a red card.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I had to give it. But
it's a good penalty, you know. He
takes
just
it well.
Waits the goalkeeper goes early again and makes it easier for him.
Yeah,
penalty.
I think that probably was a penalty to a degree, because you know you're taking the man out of the game. But not like the soft one that you know in the other game I was talking about, but never mind.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to look at one man in particular who scored the goal, will Motherwell be able to hold on to him? Stephen Robinson was asked the question after the match.
I can't dictate what other people do or what other clubs do. You know, we've got a value for Louis. As far as I'm concerned, nobody's met that value, and if they do, then obviously the board have got something to think about. But for now, he's a Motherwell footballer. He's contracted for another year. And, you know, I'm going to use him as best I possibly can, and I'll be 100% committed while he's here, and hopefully he's here for a long time.
I still think someone will tempt him, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, we all thought it was going to be Aberdeen, but they've obviously got Stevie May, you know, so I think that's out of the equation now. It's certainly, again, depending on what kind of money we're talking about, it might have to be down in England.
I think it's quality. I mean, I'm even thinking Celtic are looking for a third striker, and I think he could do a job there. And if he played with the kind of chances that Celtic create, Louis Moult could put the ball in the net for Celtic as well.
OK, I don't agree with you. Only based on the fact of the level that he's looking at the Champions League. But hey, this programme's not for us all to get on and like each other, Gordon, is it? What about St Johnstone? Michael O'Halloran. This is painful for Rangers fans, surely. 4 goals, 3 games. Yeah,
he's definitely been motivated since he went back to St Johnstone, without question. He's become a real, I would think, probably, I don't know what that's meant to be, that celebration, but as I say, all these goals are on his right foot so far, but he's making good runs and he gets into good positions, and that's a good finish. So what a good signing he's turned out to be. I think that, you know, Tommy Wright gets the best out of him as well. Obviously that happened when he had him as a player even before, but City are not happy there. He was looking for
Well, I think he thought it was a handball. He was lucky maybe not to get a red card for this, for his petulance. But and then, of course, he decided that I think I'll jump on Murray Davis's back and see if he can take me off as well. But nevertheless, they get the points. After the break, we're going to look at the Championship, League One and League Two. And we'll also look at the Premier League in England. Join us if you can. One more question to test your knowledge. It's hard to believe Ruffy was decades out from that one. He just had absolutely no clue. That whole decade must have been a blur for you, Ruffy.
Yeah, I was nowhere near any of them. I saw the Elton John one. I was trying to guess that he was at Watford at the time, but obviously not.
No, absolutely not. Well, we've looked over everything in the Premiership. What about the Championship, which again, I think on the evidence of the results, there's one man who's clearly far from happy, and that's Peter Houston at Falkirk. He actually cancelled the Falkirk players' day off, slamming their performance against Dunfermline. It's good for the Pars. Dundee United, is it title winning performance from them? Not at their best, but still managed to scrape a 1-0 against Brecon. Morton and Inverness couldn't be separated, and I think maybe performance of the weekend in the Championship could go to St Mirren with 10 men on the park, getting the win over Livingston, and Queen of the South managing a 1-0 win as well. Here's the table. Dundee United with a 100% record. Dunfermline hot on their tail. St Mirren now getting that little bit of form as we expected they would. And, well, Rob will be happy at least they managed to stop the rot. They've got themselves a point at the foot. But clearly Peter Houston raging with the performance of his side. And, of course, the discipline.
Well, that's right. The discipline is a big factor. But, you know, and we're talking about it on Saturday, the fact that it is regarded as a bit of a derby game. Falkirk and Dunfermline, you wouldn't think it was because they're in different counties, but there is a lot of rivalry there, so he'll be pretty raging about the fact that they lost them. Last season they won at Dunfermline, they got a draw and a win, and this season that's lost quite heavily. Yeah,
who would want to argue with Peter on this when he says we've got players in there who talk a good game but talk is cheap?
Yeah, I mean, that exactly shows you how he feels. I mean, I saw some of the photos at the weekend. You could see he was absolutely seething as he was walking off the park, and I'm sure he was at a meeting with the players, and I tipped for them to win the league, you know, and I think they'll have to get their act together. I still think they've got something to offer, but not with the way the results are going just now.
Yeah, it's not often you see two players sent off for Falkirk, Lee Miller, but Craig Sibbald, it's rare when you see him involved in any altercations.
Certainly, because he's not that type of player. I mean, he's not really a tackler and a hard player making challenges, but you know, it's just that these kind of things can happen. You know, as I say, we always got a surprise from time to time. But I think Peter will just be unhappy with how it's going so far. I mean, they got one draw from their 3 games so far. So for a team that's meant to be up challenging at the top of the league, I think he would want to start putting together some victories. And you know, it's a tough league. There's not much in it between all the teams, I don't think. Yeah,
I mean, there's 4 or 5 easily who could be contesting this one. But we've all tipped at. Well, forgive me if you've tipped someone else. Well, I think the majority of us on the programme have gone for Dundee United. Wasn't the best performance from them, but when you've got someone of Scott McDonald's stature there who can just snatch it when it's not going well.
Well, that's exactly why they've signed him. They know that he gets about the park, and if he can get a striker he can play off, you know he's going to get chances. He's quite wiry. He's obviously went down a division, which will help him as well. So, you know, I think there's more goals in for Scott.
Yeah, I've tipped Dundee United. I think that it will be them, but I don't think it'll be as easy or as clear cut as it's been in recent seasons. I think it will be tighter than that. I think there are other teams that are going to be up close to them. I think the big fight is going to be on certainly for that the playoff places, the 3 below them, Peter, because I think you've got at least 6 or 7 teams who I think are going to challenge for that.
Yeah, OK, let's have a look at the other league results from League 1 and League 2. League 1, first of all, Airdrieonians, despite what's going on in the background, can't seem to get themselves any kind of settled plan to take them forward as far as manager and backroom staff, but they still managed to win against Albion Rovers. Queen's Park with another defeat, this time to Alloa, and Raith Rovers with a good win over Forfar. But Ayr United, as you can see, with that 4-3 win away from home. Here's a look at the table, Ruffy, and Ian McCall's men living up to the pre-season hype.
Yep, he's made a lot of good signings during the season. He's looked about, you know, to see what kind of player he needs to get out of that league, and they're flying. You know, they had a great League Cup as well. But they're scoring goals, and that's a big win. Stranraer, that's a sort of a lot of rivalry going on down there, and to win that one, it'll be good for the players.
And they've actually gone full time as well. That's a major thing for Ayr United. They've actually gone full time for the first time in years, Peter. So that's I think it's coming through in their terms of the performances, because I mean they did well in the League Cup and they're out now, but the performances have generally been very good, and you know what a great start they've had in the league.
Yeah, plus of course a manager with experience and still got a lot to offer in my book. You can give us your thoughts on League One as well. Let's look to League Two and the results from Saturday. Good win for Annan, 5-1. That certainly was a surprise. Elgin City edging out Clyde, and Stenhousemuir defeating Peterhead, my tip for the title, and Stirling Albion with a win that gives them the only 100% record, as you can see from the table, Ruffy.
Yeah, again, Stirling Albion, a great start to the season. Again, he's brought in a lot of experienced players, a lot of players that he's played with, so he knows what he's going to get out of them, and they're getting the rewards.
Yep, Dave McKay, I still think Peterhead will have something to say on it.
I think so. I think that, you know, that it's a strange team, Peterhead, because at times you see them and they look a very good team, but they're very inconsistent as well, Peter. It happened last season, the season before, they had a terrible run at the end, started last season badly, and it ended up, you know, from being a team who were considered would be in you know, promotion side, it ended up relegated, so it was a bit of a surprise to see them in the lowest league, but I think they've still got the players, so I think Jim McAllen can turn it around.
Okay, many people thought Tottenham were going to be up there battling it out for the title. I have my doubts about them, Ruffy. I think if you're a manager and you've had such a good season last season, you're going to a different stadium. They're having to, you know, they're rebuilding. They've got this new stadium at White Hart Lane, but you've got to sign players from a position of strength. I think they've been caught in the hop here.
Yeah, when you look around at the money that's been splashed about with the other clubs, he might have quite rightly said, right, look where we finished last year. I don't need to spend the cash, you know, I'll just spend it when I really, really need it. But like you, I think they're not like a team of individuals. They've got wonderful individual players, but they're always going to come up with something special. I just don't think they've got that strong mentality to go on a massive run, which you need to do in this league.
Here's the results from the Premier League at the weekend. Just confirmation of Chelsea's win at Wembley. And elsewhere, well, Liverpool scraped it against Crystal Palace. It was a good win for Leicester, but Manchester United screaming out at the top there. And of course the other result, which is of course Stoke City edging Arsenal again.
Yeah.
First of all, Manchester United, I've tipped City, but United look as if they're getting it together.
Yeah, I just think it's hard to choose between the two of them, because I think City are slightly stronger squad-wise, but I think that, you know, the performances that United have put in so far have been tremendous. I mean, 4 goals in each game, and Lukaku's been a good signing. If he can keep his fitness, you know, he's a man maybe that's going to turn that around from last season, somebody that can, a striker that can regularly put the ball in the net, but they've got other people scoring as well. And I think City, a hard game tonight. Everton are always tough opponents, but I probably think if I had to scrape it one way or the other, I'd probably say City just slightly favourites, but I do think it's going to be one or the other. I don't see anybody else challenging for the league title other than City and United this year, Peter.
Yeah, if City are not in the running by January, Ruffy's only spent a couple of $100 million. I think he'll be out the door.
Yeah, but as we all know, when the window comes, you know, if he needs it, he'll use it, and if he can get the right player in. But I certainly think they've got enough players. I think it was defensively they were let down last year, you know, and I include the goalkeeper in that as well. But Company's back. He looks as if he can organise everybody, but no, they're good to watch for me.
And the disappointment again, I think, is Arsenal. I mean, I think the Lacazette goal was clear to everyone. I mean, if you're talking about some, I mean, I almost had to laugh when people were actually analysing whether his toe was offside. Give me a break. He's onside. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see people scoring goals.
Yeah, I couldn't understand that. You know, that could be given on that basis. Like, you should always. The advantage should always be given. If it's touch and go, give the advantage to the attacking team to want to see goals. You're absolutely right. You know, as I say, there was nothing in it, but that's a bad result for Arsenal when you think about it. I mean, to lose to Stoke, first game of the season was a bit of a lucky one too when they came back and eventually won with a late goal. But I don't see. I think Arsenal are a good team. At times they play some great stuff, but I don't see them challenging for the league title. Yeah,
here's how the Premier League table looks after the weekend's results. And at the top end, I think Jose Mourinho would take that. Huddersfield, you know, every week if they're not taking a screenshot of the table at the moment, then they should do. And, well, Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp. I'd love to see Liverpool in the mix, but I don't think they've got strength and depth, Ruffy, no?
No, I don't think so either. I think he's maybe still 2 or 3 players away from up there challenging for the top 4 at least.
Yep, and your old side Brighton, have they got a long season ahead, Gordon?
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them, but they have got some signings in, and they're trying to bring in some more. And they've had a couple of hard games. I mean, the first game, Man City at home, was always going to be a tough start. But, you know, as I say, I do think Brighton can pick up and get going, and I think they'll stay up.
OK, thanks to Gordon Smith, who still remains the last Brighton player to have scored in the top flight. How long can this record hold on? Join us tomorrow night if you can. As I said before, Ruffy and myself will be joined by Chris Commons at 7:30 on STV2. We'll reflect on Celtic's second leg in Kazakhstan against Astana. They hold a 5-0 lead from the first leg. They should be securing themselves Champions League group stages. Of course, the draw made on the Thursday. Join us for that. But from Gordon Smith, Alan Ruff and myself, Peter Martin, thanks for watching.